There are a lot of people who deserve to be recognized as AG-ceptional Woman of the Year, but in Lisa's case, she looks at agriculture as how can she pave the way, how can she be better, how can she represent agriculture better. Her passion is really around cattle, obviously, but it runs so deep. And I think that's partially from her upbringing.
Our family farm operation is always growing and changing. The business environment changes, the weather changes from year to year. Her father's in his 70s now. We're getting ready to make a transition as Lisa's purchased some more land, as I've purchased some more land. Lots of changes going on. It's a very vibrant time to be involved in agriculture.
We've consisted of about 1,200 acres of corn, beans, and hay and alfalfa. And we background cattle during the wintertime and run cattle on the pastures in the summertime.
Our family farm operation's been here for quite a while. I think Lisa's the 6th generation in this area.
Lisa is very dedicated to what she does. She's very passionate about the field of agriculture and the various aspects, whether it's livestock production, taking care of the land, building a legacy. She's very passionate.
She was a farm girl. In fact, she was more of a tomboy for us. Then I wanted 2 girls that would help me in the house. No, they wanted outside. I wanted to be outside too. Lisa was a farm girl all the way around. She knew how to drive a tractor. She knew how to do this. She knew how to do that. She was our firstborn, and she knew what to do. Jerry counted on her very highly. Both of them had chores. They had, when they got home from school, they had to do the horse chores. They had to do the chicken chores. They had to cut up cobs for the hogs, and it was a time of family.
Lisa was always the one who wanted to be outside, helping my dad run the tractors, cutting hay, which was fine with me because I didn't really have that passion. Lisa and I would go out and ride horses quite a bit, and we showed horses when we were younger and stuff.
My sister's 4 years younger than I don't want to admit that, but she's younger. And we always showed horses. We're a very competitive family. And we fought a lot when we were in high school and stuff, but then when she got married and left, we probably got closer than we were when we were in high school. When we were showing horses, she was showing one horse and I was showing my horse, and she was beating me all the time in halters, just constantly. So we went to a horse show and I said, well, let's switch. So she showed my horse, I showed her horse. Of course, who wins? She's showing my horse, she wins.
Coming when out of high school and college, my husband and I got married but moved away from the family farm for 23 years. And we always said once we retire from the Air Force, the family farm operation is where we want to come back to. And that's what we did, and brought our kids here, and it's a good place for them.
So when she came back, we both ride horses yet. We'll both take off, load them in a trailer, and go to Willow Lake and just ride.
And Lisa's the one who taught me how to ride horse and just all about her horses, just the way to ride correctly, to turn using not just the bridle, yanking on the bridle, but everything, like using your whole body to turn the horse, and how to post like when you're trotting and cantering. And so it was always fun to just get to hang out with Lisa and ride horse.
Lisa is passionate about agriculture, and she's really helped out with our FFA chapter. Like for our livestock judging team, she was there at practices and stuff just to give advice. And then like I'll always ask her for like the market update and stuff, you know, and we'll talk about cattle market and crop market a little.
She's always really passionate about what she believes in, and it really showed me that I can be passionate about my goals as well, and to always, like, when I put my mind to something and pursue it, I can get it done.
She is great for me to bounce ideas off of. I often tell her the most expensive words in business are because that's the way we've always done it. And as I want to bring ideas or changes or thoughts into it, she's very good. She has a good logical decision-making process, but I know I have to come with details and facts and why we make changes.
In all the places I've been, I've always come back to help Dad. I love going back to work on the farm simply to get away from the phone, out of the pickup, and just have some downtime away from cattle buying. So I was very involved in 4-H and FFA, in the livestock judging and the horse judging as well.
In high school, she was class officer of the FFA for all 4 years. She was very good in school. She was ornery. Got into a few scrapes.
I did not know for sure what I wanted to do when I graduated high school, but I wanted to stay in agriculture. And I went to Northeast Community College and started there. And if I would not have started at Northeast Community College, I don't think I would have made it to Texas A&M University.
When I was an instructor at Northeast Community College, I was in the ag department, and we had started the livestock judging team, and I got to know her through livestock judging, and she came to a workout as probably a high school student, and from there on we started talking and got her to come be a student, and she was one of my active ladies in livestock selection, and some great memories were made with Lisa. Lisa was always a very dynamic young lady and challenge her, and first thing she'd say was no, and then she would do it. From there on, she was judged for me very successfully, and we were at a workout at a national livestock judging contest, getting ready to go. I think it was to Phoenix, if I remember right, and we always worked on oral reasons in the evenings after you looked at livestock all day long, and Lisa was doing an excellent job, and the coach from Texas A&M happened to go by because he had the door open, and I says, "Come in and listen to this young lady." And from that point on, Lisa got in her big car and drove to College Station, Texas, and competed for Texas A&M.
I feel that judging experience prepared me for this position, even though when I was judging, I had no idea this was where the road was going to take me. When I got out of college at A&M, I came back, I interviewed with breed associations, I interviewed with some pharmaceutical companies. I just didn't know what I was going to do. And then IBP interviewed me for a position in pork as in quality control. I wanted to stay in the beef industry, so then they came back and offered me a position as scale house coordinator and cattle buyer trainee. And I thought, this sounds like this is where maybe I want to go.
I said, "Oh, Lisa, are you sure you want to do this? I mean, it's a man's world." And we had our doubts, but she said, "If I get my foot in the door."
Yeah, agriculture has for years been seen as a man's world, and more specifically maybe the cattle business than some of the other areas of agriculture. And I was the first woman cattle buyer to work for a major packer as a cattle buyer buying fed cattle. And at that time, that was an amazing feat with all eyes on any mistakes, anything and every move I made, everybody knew about. And Lisa came along just 2 or 3 years later, and so I knew what she was going through at the time, even though we worked for different companies, didn't talk. It was, don't trip up and make a mistake, because that affects every other female who may want to come into this career and industry.
And I started in Laverne, Minnesota with IBP, and then they transferred me to Lexington, Nebraska when they opened that plant. And then they put me out in the country in west central Iowa. I lived in Ida Grove, Iowa. And then they moved me to Missouri, which really wasn't where I wanted to go, but I didn't have a choice. I was young, single, and I covered 3/4 of the state in 4 counties in Illinois, so I was putting a lot of miles on. And then Cargill had a position open up in South Dakota, and I interviewed with them and got that position. And then in 2012, the buyer by Columbus retired, and I was able to take that position. That's the road that I traveled after college. As a representative of Cargill, we consider ourselves the link between the producer and the consumer.
What Buyer does is go out and one, build relationships and trust with the cattle feeder or the owner of the cattle or the feed yard manager, and then look at the cattle to evaluate weight, yield grade, quality grade, dressing percent, and other carcass attributes that are important to that particular packer or a program that they're looking to fill. And then evaluate that whole pen, but then break it down in percentages of each one of those specific carcass categories and calculate the cost. Over the years, I think Lisa and I've looked at that a lot the same, that we're trying to blaze a trail for other young women who have a interest in cattle, an interest in this profession, and make sure that we lay the trail for them to have an easier path and kind of pioneer through breaking that stigma that women can't evaluate cattle or can't negotiate as tough as a man.
There is so many positions in agriculture, from production to sales to marketing to research and development to IT. There's so many ways you can go and still be involved in agriculture. If somebody tells you that you can't do it because you're a woman, my advice is prove them wrong. That's always what it's been. If somebody told me I couldn't do something, that pretty much made me want to do it.
What I've found and what Lisa's found definitely is you're professional. If you know your trade and you treat people professionally, they're going to respect you.
She'd been accepted very well, I think, being working in a man's world, and I think she's doing a good job of it. I don't mind taking advice from my daughter. I think it's she knows what's going on in the cattle market a little better than I do.
Lisa is AG-ceptional for the reasons that she listens, she'll think, and then she will perform.
Woman in agriculture can take the lead. Whatever the challenge, whatever the need, she rise to meet the demands of every single day.
Lisa, congratulations on this awesome award. You are an awesome friend of mine, you know that, and I couldn't tell you how happy and proud I am, not only of you, but your accomplishments and all the great things I know you still have up your sleeve and you're going to do, all the contributions you're going to continue to make, and you've earned it, and I am just so very happy for you.
Lisa, I'm your father and I'm real proud of you. You've accomplished a lot. We were a little worried about you, but you have done great. Keep it up and always come home.
She stands tall when push comes to shove. She works, she